All right, folks, today we are going to be asking the question, what are the biggest mistakes people make after an accident that could hurt their case? Welcome to yet another informative segment of Live with Mitch from the law firm of Proner and Proner. I'm your host, Mel Maguia. And we sit down with the expert himself, Mr. Mitch Proner, a personal injury attorney with over 30 years of experience, here to answer your questions or any interesting topics that you might find useful in the personal injury world. How are you doing, Mitch?
Doing well. Always excited to present information. Hopefully it's informative and entertaining.
Most definitely, most definitely. So before we start, just remember, folks, if you need to contact us, all consultations are free and confidential. Call us at any time at 1-800-321-1234. So yeah, let's just dive right into it, Mitch. So what are the biggest mistakes that people make after an accident that could hurt their case?
Well, the first mistake people might make is not reporting the incident. Sometimes people get hurt at work. They don't tell their boss. It could be a trip and fall. They say, I think I'm okay. They're just embarrassed. They thought maybe they're clumsy. A car accident where they say, no, we don't need to call the police. We can handle this on their own.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, they might be feeling the pain and they think, I got to go to a doctor and a hospital. And the incident wasn't recorded, where it happened, how it happened, the injury sustained. And the insurance companies will use that to minimize payment. Second mistake people might make is by speaking to the insurance directly on their own without being prepared by an attorney. Insurance carriers are big businesses. They make their money by paying out as little as possible in claims and collecting as much as possible in premiums. When they take a recorded statement from you, it's not to assure that you get the money you deserve. It's to minimize their exposure. And I've never, in over 30 years of practice, heard them say, oh, we don't need to discuss how the injuries or how this happened. We already got the recorded statement. No, it's always, he said this in the recorded statement. We don't owe you money.
Wow.
Which is, so when you give that recorded statement, you have the right to be prepared. Third thing, not contacting an attorney immediately. An attorney can not only prepare you before you give any recorded statements, but the attorney could look for additional proof that might support your claim. Surveillance videos that might be on a nearby bank or store or gas station. The attorney could find out if there are any witnesses, get witness statements, can take photos of the scene, can document how the injury was the fault or responsibility of a party that might be insured and you can collect money from. And that's very difficult to do on your own. Certainly it can be done, but very few people have the experience and the wherewithal and the team to get that done immediately. Insurance carriers have investigators and lawyers working for them, and you can do the same. Attorneys like my office, if you contact us, we don't get paid unless we're successful. So you're not going to lay out that money for the investigator. We will.
Right.
And that can make a difference. The other mistake people make, which is probably the biggest mistake somebody can make, is not getting the medical care they need. Your body's more important than any money I'm going to get you. And you might think you're okay, but some injuries don't reveal themselves immediately. And some injuries can be minimized tremendously if they're given the right attention. A brain injury, the brain has a phenomenon called neuroplasticity, where with the right therapy, a brain can make a better recovery than if it's ignored.
Okay.
And same thing with fractures. Your bone might need to be set. Otherwise, you might have a longer lasting problem, might need a surgery that you could have been avoided if somebody set it early on. And a lot of times people try to think they can recover with some aspirin, and maybe the best course of events is to get the care that you need.
Yeah.
That care is actually proof that you were injured, because every adjuster is going to say, he didn't get injured in this accident. They didn't get treatment for 2 weeks. Who knows what happened in those 2 weeks?
Yeah.
But that immediately hospital record that was, every hospital has to generate records. Otherwise, they can't get paid. There's actually a federal law that says it has to be digital nowadays.
Okay.
And you might be concerned about the medical bills, but the bills, they can be treated and taken care of by a good attorney. Whereas your health is there forever. The bills are there for now. Your health's forever. Don't worry about the bills. Get the care you need. And the last mistake is not getting the ongoing treatment that you might need.
Okay.
The ongoing treatment is proof in a personal injury action as to the duration and the permanency of your condition. And it's also a doctor can give you therapy, can give you medicine, can tell you need a surgery, and can maybe make your life better. And the
Right.
medical records actually go into evidence in a lawsuit. And that's the proof of your injuries that is used to get you the money that you deserve. And those are the main mistakes people make.
Wow. Okay, great. You had mentioned something earlier, and I want to kind of double back, but there's a question about deadlines and that people often miss when filing a claim. But I had a question about, like, you had mentioned video and what have you, trying to get that. How long does that last? I mean, is there with buildings and
So there's
such?
no set registry for surveillance video, whether it's
Okay.
with a store or a bank or a gas station. And they all have different systems. Some systems are backed up to the cloud where they'll keep it forever. Some systems re-record in 72 hours.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
you don't know what system the gas station or convenience store is running, or the bank. They're not required by law to maintain these videos, and a lot of the systems re-record after 72 hours, some 48 hours. So
Wow.
the best thing to do is to get that information and preserve it immediately.
Right.
And an attorney can send a letter that's called a spoliation letter. A
Okay.
spoliation is the destruction of evidence that might be used to support your claim, and can tell the facility that there's penalties if they don't preserve the evidence, and can send an investigator to get the information. And it's something that's important to get done early on, otherwise it doesn't exist.
Right. Are there any other deadlines that people should keep note of or keep in
There's
mind?
so many deadlines
Oh, really?
that
Okay. Yeah.
for example, in New York you have 3 years to file suit, but in Connecticut it's only 2 years.
Okay.
If it's against a municipality, it's a year and 90 days in New York, but you have to file notice of claim within 90 days. You have to submit your medical bills in a motor vehicle accident within 30 days, according to the no fault law. In a workers' comp claim, you need to report the incident within 30 days to your employer, and your employer has 14 days to report it to their insurance carrier, and the insurance carrier has 18 days to advise you of your rights and initiate payments for 2/3 of your loss of earnings. So there's so many different deadlines that can end the claim if you miss them. And an experienced attorney will know those deadlines and help you to make sure that the case is not lost before it even gets started.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm gonna before we end this, I'm gonna ask one more question. That in a situation, let's just say, for example, vehicle against pedestrian, what have you. What if someone apologizes at the scene? Can that be used against them?
So you might have heard the term hearsay in a movie or TV. Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. Hearsay is an out-of-court statement sought to be introduced in court to prove the truth of the matter asserted. Now, that's a fancy way of saying open mouth insert foot rule. Admissions against interest are always an exception to hearsay, which means if you say, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, and it's a motor vehicle accident, well, there's actually a rule of law that says you're required to observe what's there to be observed. So just saying, I didn't see you could be admission against interest that can be held against you. Whereas I'm sorry, maybe you're sorry they got hurt. You'd be sorry, for anybody. And maybe that's not necessarily an admission, but you should be concerned that admissions can be used against you. So you're probably better off not saying anything that might be deemed an admission of fault. And I'm sorry might be along those lines. So if the police come, you're better off telling them what the other vehicle did wrong.
Okay.
And you're not required under the law to tell on yourself. You don't need to tell the police officer, I just want to tell you, I was going a little over the speed limit. Everybody does it. No, that's violating the law. You're at fault. That's the way it works.
Wow. Well, that's really great advice. There's a lot of things there I had no idea about. Well, there you have it, folks. You heard it from the expert himself, Mitch Proner, and that'll do it for now. And thank you all for taking the time to tune in, whether it's on our podcast or video broadcast. We really do appreciate you taking this time. And as always, remember, you can call us 24/7 at 1-800-321-1234, where consultations are free and confidential. Also, if you haven't done it yet, please follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and of course, YouTube. Like, share, and please subscribe so you can get the latest updates. Now, before we go, Mitch, do you have anything else you want to add?
Just, I hope everybody's well. If for some reason you are injured, get the medical care you need, and then get in touch with an attorney. And to consult with us, as Mel mentioned, is always free and confidential. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thanks again, Mitch, for yet another informative session with you. And thank you all for checking us out. I know I learned a lot, and I hope you did too. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Mel. Thanks,
All right.
everybody, for listening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.